Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we're in Masechtas Nedarim daf Nun. We are going to begin on the top of Nun Amud Aleph, Rabbi Akiva. The famous Gemara of Rabbi Akiva is Kadash Delay Barte de Kalba Savoa. That he ended up marrying the daughter of Kalba Savoa, who was his father-in-law. Shama bar Kalba Savoa, he heard about this and he was not happy about this shidduch. Adra hana mikol nichse. So, and the reason why it's in this Masechta, which is about Nedarim, he answered all of his possessions to Rabbi Akiva, as well to his daughter. So Azla he went, the is natzivole besisva. They ended up getting married, and it was extremely cold in the middle of the winter. Haviganu be tivna. All they had to sleep with was straw. Says Rashi, Hayeshenim ben Hateven shul haylehem karim uksasais. Rabbi Akiva and his wife did not have a pillow, didn't have a blanket. They're extremely poor. Havika menakit letivne min mazia, and they used to actually take, says the hair from her own hair. Says Rashi, Hamelakit Hateven masaro. They used to have to take like teven, straw, from her hair. That's how bad it was. They're like plucking the straw out of her hair. Amrula ihavi li raminalich Yerushalayim dedahava. Rabbi Akiva looked at her and said, if only I had money, I would get you the most beautiful necklace or headband, which is called the Irshal Yerushalayim, which is brought down by Masechta Shabbos, which was specifically for very wealthy people. So that's what he said to her. Anyway, and eventually he ends up buying this for her when they become wealthy. So it's interesting that Eliyahu came only after he said this. In other words, they were longing, saying, I wish I had more money. I wish I can buy you this. I don't, look how unfortunate and embarrassing it is. We don't have anything for you. But Kakari Baba. So Eliyahu came and was knocking on their door because they were obviously feeling down on themselves. Amalhu Havli Porta de Tivna. Please give me a little bit of your straw. Dialat Isisi, my wife just gave birth to a baby. Velesli Medam La Aguna. And my baby doesn't have the ability to sleep on anything, so I'm hoping that maybe you can spare some of your straw. So Amalei Rabbi Akiva in Tate, he said to his wife, Chazi Gavre diafil tivna lo islay. Look, there are people that even have less than us, which is an unbelievably powerful insight, that Eliyahu came in order to give them that insight. Even though it's true, I have straw, and there's probably people who don't have any straw, but until you actually hear someone saying it, it doesn't necessarily register. And therefore Eliyahu had to come to comfort Rabbi Akiva and his wife that they should appreciate what they do have and not what they don't have, and say, oh, I wish I could buy you this, I wish we had that, I wish you had this beautiful golden necklace, or this beautiful jewelry. Don't worry about what you don't have. Worry about what you do have. It's a very profound piece of Gemara. This Gemara, there's so many pieces. Amrulay, so she encouraged him and said, Zil Habibe Rab, become a rabbi. Learn Torah. Azul Tartit Sarshnin, Kamed Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Yeshua. So this is an unbelievable question over here. TA25. So everyone knows this Gemara. It's such a famous Gemara. Imagine getting this test, and this is the question. Eitzel mi lomad Rabbi Akiva Torah b'hanach triaser shani. Who did Rabbi Akiva learn Torah from? What do you mean? How could you not know? It's Beferish, right? Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. Okay. So that's who he learned from. Well, Mishlam Tarti Sari Shnin, after those 12 years, Ka'asala base, he was going home. Shamar min achori bebesi, he heard from the other side of the house. The Karmele Chad Rasha al this wicked person said, Shaper Abed lech avuch, your father did good. Chad Deloy Dami lech. First of all, this man was not appropriate. He's not comparable to you. You married way down. Ba'od shavkach armolus. He left you as a widow. Chayis kul hinshnin for all these years. Armalei, and she said one of the most powerful sentences. There's so much in here. Itzayis ledili. If he would listen to me, lahavi tartit sari shnin achra naisa. I wish he would go back and learn another 12 years. Omer, so Rabbi Kiva said, Hoyel v'ya havdali reshusa. Since she's giving me permission, ehed lachurai, I'm going to turn back. So we see Rav Chaim Shmulevitz learns from here. Well, why did he go in for the weekend, right? Spend a month there. He had some vacation time. 12 years plus 12 years does not equal 24 years. When a person learns, or they do whatever they do, but they take breaks, it's not the same as the continuity of continuing on and on. So therefore he realized in order to have greatness, he couldn't stop. He had to continue to with that momentum of learning. Hadar Ozl Habi Tartit Sari Shnei Achranaisa. He learned another 12 years. Also, Be'esim V'arba Alfin Zugi Talmidi. He ended up having 24,000 pairs of students. Nafik Kuli Halma La'apei. They're all there. V'yavhi Kamtula Mepik La'apei. All of a sudden his wife comes as well. Amalei Hahu Rishia V'yad Lahecha. Where are you going? Amalei Yodet Sadik Nefesh Behemtai. That even a tzaddik knows of his animal. He's not calling her that. He's saying that my husband will remember me. Asis is chazuyele kamadchan. So all of a sudden, when she went there, they started pushing her away. Madchan le rabbanan. And then Rabbi Kiva noticed his wife, and he said, Amr lahain hanichula, leave her alone. Shali b'shalachem shalahu. What is mine, what is yours, it's all hers. The only reason why we have all the Torah that we have, as the Ran says, Tarasi v'taraschem b'shvilahi shenasateli eitza lemezel lebeirav. She's the one that gave me the advice. She gave me the encouragement. She pushed me to go and to learn. Shema bar kal b'savoa, he heard about this, also the itchil al nidre. So he wanted to be, his neder to be removed, and vishtari, and in fact it was removed. Min shis mili, and then the Gemara says for 6 things, iater Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva became wealthy. Min kalba savoa. Eventually, his father-in-law gave tremendous amount of money to him. That's 1. Min ayala desvinta. There was also the ayala means the heart, which is a female deer. He found fortune on a boat. The whole savinta abdinle min eina, because all of the boats were from the species. What do we have? A deer. Zimnachada anshua al kef yama asahu ashkache. So it was by this water, and it says he found it. Let's slow down for a second. Umin, fine. So what exactly happened? So you look in the Ran. B'chol svina ha'oisin demus ayil. The boat had like this appearance like a deer. Me'etz l'nachash l'simen shehei hasvina kala. It showed that it was a very quick, swift boat. B'lichasa ka'ayil. L'hayu memalon oiso din rezahav. And it was filled with gold. So he encountered this particular boat, and that's how he became wealthy. Umin gavza, and also from a treasure chest. He gave 4 zuz to his sailors. Give me from this. All they did was find this chest. Asuyale amrule avid marana ale. So they gave it to him, and it was filled with money. The zimnachada tabas svinta. There was a time that this boat sunk. V'kuli iska havi mochis bahu gavza, and all the money was in this chest. V'ishtakach bahu zimna, and it was found at that particular time. The min dis roikisa umin matur fine. Umin matronisa. So there was this matronisa. What is this? And let's just finish it here. Umin ishtar shal turnus rufus umin ketia bar shalom. So let's look at this lengthy Ran. So let's see the Ran before that. Umin gavza tev hasoil hatznia b'tocha mamoin hasvina. So there was this treasure in this chest. That was his matronisa. So the Ran says the following story. Pamacha sutzacha Rabbi Kiva v'tamidav mois. There was a time that Rabbi Kiva and his students needed money. He went to this woman. Amrlo Rabbi Kiva. So she said to Rabbi Kiva, Hareini molaba oischa. I'm going to lend you the money. Patihei ata loive, and you'll be the borrower. V'Hakadosh Baruch Hu v'yam arabim b'davar. And Hashem and the sea will be like co-signers. So kavala zman lepiroyan. They had agreed when the money would be paid back. She'agia zmana, when the time came, halcha oisam aturnisa svasa yom. So this woman went to the edge of the sea. Amar Rabbi Shalom, Gov yidol panecha Rabbi Kiva chayla. I know he's sick. Vo haya biyadol eproya chayvo. I know he can't pay me back. Reish yata ari badavar. But you are the co-signer. Miyad nishtatis bito shel kesar v'natal argas mali avanim toivos v'diniri zahav. So the daughter of the Caesar had all this money, and she threw it into the sea. And it just happened to be that the money went to this exact location where the matronisa was. She was Yeshivas al Svasiyam, Miyad Nato Isa Arga, she opened up this chest, Vahochal Yomim, and then she went. This rapper Rabbi Kiva got healthy. So after he got healthier, he was going to pay off the loan. You don't have to pay me. I already went to the co-signer. They paid me back everything. They actually gave me more. And the extra money that she got, she was so honest that she said, you know what, I got more than I was supposed to get. And therefore, for that reason, I'm going to, I have to give you the difference. So that was the case of the matronisa. As we continue in Nedarim Beis, what does this mean, the story of the wife of Turnus Rufus? So look at this Ran. The Ran says, Shohay Rabbi Akiva mikavchay bikroi bifnei Kesar. Rabbi Akiva was debating psukim in front of the Caesar. Kantroi b'dvarim. He was like contradicting him and debating with him. So Pamachas bola beso sar b'zayif. So one time he went to his house with anguish and upset. Amrlo ishto, his wife said, why are you so upset? Amrlo, Rabbi Kiva shemi kanter oisi b'chol yoyim b'dvarim. Because this is the Caesar, right? He said, because Rabbi Kiva is constantly, and he's a brilliant man, he's constantly correcting me and debating with me. Amrlo Elohehem shel elu saini zimuhu. I know that their God hates lewdness. Tainli rishus, give me permission. V'achshalai sabadavar avera, and I'm going to cause him to sin. Nosten lo rishus. So the Caesar gave his wife permission. V'nis kashta, she got all dressed up. V'hochalaitz Rabbi Kiva. Kishar Rabbi Kiva isa, when Rabbi Kiva saw her, rak sochak ubacha. When he saw the wife of Turnus Rufus, he spit, he laughed and cried. Amrlo, he said, Ma inon hanach tlos mili. What are you doing these three things for? Amrlo, shnia efarish shlishul efarish. I'll explain two, but not three. Rekakti, I spat al shabas matipa srucha, because you came from a putrid drop. So even though you're beautiful now, I have to remember that you're just a human being that came, you're once a little baby, and I shouldn't be having these machshavos. B'chisi, I cry al hai shufr de boli ba'ara, which we find this elsewhere in Brachos, that something so beautiful eventually will be swallowed in the earth. You'll eventually die. Which basically, it sounds morbid, but what he's really saying is beauty fades. So the fact that I'm so enthralled by your beauty, it's something which won't last anyway. V'hu sachak, but he laughed. Shesafa b'ruach hakodesh sheasid lesgayer. He saw in Ruach HaKodesh that eventually she will convert. Lisnasilo and marry him. V'lo ratzil hoidia, but he didn't want to tell her that. Amarlo klum yesh tshuva. Is there an answer? So is there any answer to this? So Amarlo hein, yes, halcham nisgaira. V'nisislo Rabbi Kivech nisilo maman harbe. So this actually is what happened. She went and ended up marrying, converted, and ended up marrying him. And umin katia bar shalom, on this the Ran just says mefarish b'avodah zara. He doesn't explain, and neither does Rashi. So we'll have to wait till we get to Masechtas Avodah Zara to know exactly what happened there. Okay. Back in the Gemara. So Rav Gamda Yoiv Dal Zuzi was Sapunoi. So Rav Gamda, like Rabbi Kiva did, he gave 4 zuz to a sailor. Okay. Lasui Badain Bahoin Midam, for him to get a particular item. Well, Ashkachu, they didn't find it. Asule Bahoin Koifa. And he had this monkey. Ishtamid al Lucharta, and he was waiting by a cave. Rashi says Nichnas hakoif b'chor echa b'karka, that this monkey went inside this hole in a cave. So Chafra Basrei, so he was like digging after it. Ashkua, he found Ravia al Margoliasa. He ended up finding this precious jewel. I seen hunle kulhain, and he basically took that. Amalei Bas Kesar, the daughter said to Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya, Torah mifa'ara b'kli machor. This is Gemara in Tainus. Doesn't make any sense. You're such beauty, such beautiful Torah. How could it be in such an ugly, disgusting vessel? Apparently, he wasn't the most beautiful man. Amalei Limdi mebeis avuch. You should learn from your father's house. Where do you put wine? Amalei b'mani de pachra. We put it in earthenware vessels. Amalei kol yalma b'pachra v'iton b'mani de pachra. Doesn't make any sense. Why the whole world is putting it in earthenware vessels and you're doing the same? Atoyin achitun b'mani de kasba v'dahava. You're so prominent and beautiful and special. Why don't you put it in silver and gold vessels? And that's exactly what was done. As one can imagine, it's sweet and it's spoiled. So is the Torah. What do you mean? Okay, but there are beautiful people that are beautiful and they learn Torah. So he says a fascinating statement. If they were ugly or unattractive, they would learn even more. In other words, it's true that they may look beautiful, but it shows that they're dedicating a lot of their time to their physical beauty. Nothing wrong with your physical health, but to constantly be worrying about getting pedicures, manicures, getting your hair done, constantly looking in the mirror. So these are all matters of vanity, which a person who does is wasting their time as a man because they could be dedicating their time to more important things like Torah study. Hahi da'asiel kamed Rabbi Huda menarda ladina. So it was this person that came to Rabbi Huda from Narda, and they went for din to court. Okay, there's a couple of runs. Actually, I missed a huge and very important run, which we'll see soon. V'is chayvis min dina. And they lost the court case. Amalei Shmuel Rabba Chechidanan. How did you judge? Amalei Yadatle. Basically, are you aware? So Amalei in yes. Gutsa Varabba Karese Ukam. Short and the fat person with a fat stomach. Ukam Varabba Shine with the black and long teeth. Amalei lives Zuye Kaasis. It sounds like you're coming to humiliate. To Havi Ahi Isasi. Bishamta Paku Mesa. So because they were being humiliating, they were put into cherem, and they actually died in cherem. Now let's look at this crucial Ran. Mefarish Biksuvas Perak Afalpi, the Pesach he began. What was the Pesach? How did Kalba Savo get out of it? He said, Ilu Havis Yadiadahu Chas Noch Sum Rabbanon, if I knew that my son-in-law would actually be a scholar. Mia Darte, would you have made a nether lomo? I feel perkechad, I feel halachachas. If you knew anything, I wouldn't have done this. So how is it possible that they made this Pesach for him? This is something which is noilad, which is a Shabbos concept, like by muksa, but it's something that didn't happen yet. So Tanana come on, they ain't paischim b'noilad. Ketzad. I'm not going to have enough from this person. Vanasa Soifer, he becomes a scholar. If I knew he was going to be a scholar, well, he said no, he wouldn't have made a nether. So the question is, how is he allowed to do that? Noilud means that it wasn't existing at the time of the nether. So because of that, he shouldn't have that. You can't make a Pesach with a noilud. So Yesh Lemid Shani Hachar Bikiva Al Das Shiasa Cipher Nasa. And his Hitaka was on condition that he should become a sofer. That was the whole condition. The Kivan Shekain Lav Noiludhu to Shliach Taiva Shield Perak Echad V'Halacha Achas. Rabbi Kiva didn't learn. So again, the question is, Rabbi Kiva didn't learn at the time of this nether, but the point is that this is something which is a davar shliach, and therefore it's not considered to be an issue of noilad. Question 3. Ma'u pesach de pischol lekalba savoa al nidro, ma'du lo havi pesach ben noilad. So pischole, the ilu havi yodeh, if I knew dahu chasnach my son-in-law v'yashem rabbanan, fine. V'lo havi noilad kivan al das hachi nasa. It was on this condition that Rabbi Kiva got married, b'shchiach tuva shilmoid. And it's very shchiach that someone could have the ability to learn Torah like this, so therefore it's not considered to be an issue of noilad. Okay, umoter bebeitza turmita. So if we go back to the Mishnah, which is on Mem Tes Amud Aleph, it says if a person made a neder and said, I am going to aser maisa kedera, things which are so he says, I'm not going to eat a tashel, a cooked dish. So he's not allowed to eat masa kedera, as we said, which is loose foods because it's dipped with bread. Thick foods, which a person doesn't eat with bread, is mutter because that's not within the language of a tashel. And then it says, umutter bebeitza turmuta, you're allowed to eat this egg that was cooked many times over the last hormutza, or this cooked squash. So this egg is not into the same category of this tafshel. So now the Gemara asks, my beitza turmita, what exactly is this egg? So Shmuel, Abded Abdullah. By the way, if you have a servant that does this, Shavi Alva Dinri, he's worth a lot. You dip it 1,000 times into hot water. The Alva Zimni b'may kariri, 1,000 times the cold water. Adimis zutra, until it becomes so small, kehechi divol isa, in order that you should be able to swallow it whole. Is keva, if a person, let's say, is sick, and it's difficult because of their illness to function, so sarachalav nafka v'asa, and basically you should swallow this egg, and somehow yoda asya, it knows what's the ailment, umatsama, what the healing misboile, umama mitase, and how to heal it. So somehow this egg has this capacity to do so. So again, this whole notion of why we're bringing this down is that when this egg is so small that it's eaten whole, no bread is eaten with it. So that's why this person who made the neder can eat it based on the Mishnah we saw. Shmuel Havi Bodik Nashe, he used to check himself, literally, be kulcha, with this cabbage. And the Ran over here says, what this is, since he was an expert in making this type of an egg, he used to check his health with a cabbage of sorts. Ad Demis sartin inchi beisele sarehoin. Says the Ran, Shekol kach hoya oiso kulcha boidikos. He checked it so much with this cabbage. Asher Shmuel mis alef, he became weary. The inchi beisi mitach sarin, because of his illness. Hoya soisus koliasin ser sholahen. It actually removed their hair. Tanan Hasam. So we went over there. Hoya oisa big lufsin. If let's say a person is working for, the Ran says min te'enim, this type of figs, loy oichel bivnois seva. Person should not eat b'nois sava. Says the Ran, min acher shel te'enim. Mishum hachi loy oichel she'en lo lepoil echel elam oiso min mamash she'oisabo. So if you're working, harvesting a particular fruit, you can only take that and not something even similar to it. Bivnois seva loy oichel biklufin. Biklufsin. So my klufsin. So mina te'eni. It's a type of a fig. The avdin min hoin lifte. Says the Ran, shem tashel shaltanim. They make this type of a dish with it. Nahu garbin diyahib Abdul Chavre. There was this person that he gave, Abdul Chavre, his servant, gave to his friend, la'agmure alpha mini lifte, to teach 1,000 different dishes with figs. Agmure tamni man. He taught him 800. Azmi ladino kamei, the Rebbe. So he went to court because he wasn't taught what he was supposed to. So Amar Rebbe, Avosenu Amra Nashinu Taivanu. Our Avosenu say that it was a good thing that was forgotten. Nafil beinenu loreinu. Even in our eyes, it was not seen. Says the Ran, K'dechsiv nasisi taiva haya tamoyi al shehu kol kach b'mini tainug. He was like surprised that there was so much tainug involved, that you were so concerned of having all of these. The Rashi says Asmul Adina al Mosai min shelo lamdu, because he only taught him 800 of the 1,000 recipes. So he was like, this is really unbelievable, basically. Kloimer says the Rashi, Davar muflahu shekal kach limdu. It's unbelievable that you learn that much. Rabbi Abdullah Hilula, Rav Shimon Rebbe, Kasav al Beis Ganana. It was written by the Chuppah, Esrin Arba Alfin Riboihin Dinarim, the 24,000 dinarim Nafko al Beis Ganazav. Ganana are going to go out to the Chuppah. Ganana Dain, this Chuppah. V'azmene labar kapara, and not to invite bar kapara. Amalei im oiver ritzayne kach leiser ritzayne lachas kama v'kama. So he said, if the oiver ritzayno, the people who violate the Torah, this is what bar kapara said to Rebbe. Im oiver ritzayne mashpia loy toiva kol kach. They do so much. Well oiser ritzayne shahaya meganho al shaloi zimnoi. That they're megana, someone who isn't invited. Says Rashi, Mashpielo b'om hazet toiva kolkach shiaskel asapr b'shivcha b'shvil shezimnui. So Azme, so Bar Kapara was invited. Amr l'oiser etzani b'om hazet kach l'om haba al achas kama v'kama. Okay, let's see perhaps one more question over here. There's only question 3 there. Question TB26. Mahoya Pesach Shehiter im nidrei shel kabel savo madul habi noiled. Mamish, the same question as question 3. Let's see what I wrote. Let's see if maybe I got a couple of these questions right. TB26. Afil perik echad. If I knew he'd learned this much, I would never have made such a neder. It isn't a noiled, since when Rabbi Kiva married, his das was to learn, and it is common for someone with this intention to learn will accomplish this much, that Kalbas Savoa said. Okay, let's see what the correct answer is. Paslo ilo yadat chaskal tam chachamin art v'malei nafil perik echad. The kivan Rabbi Kiva nasa al dash yelachim l'tayr v'shchiach tayva sheyilma perik echad lav noiled who. Got it right. Adkan.